We welcome you to the 3-mile iRacing Superspeedway in virtual Chelmsford, Massachusetts for round number 4 of the Hoosier Racing League. Today, the Trucks makes its first race of the season, and today we go to the Hyperspeedway of iRacing Superspeedway. Good evening, friends. Marty Sakala with you. We're so glad you could join us on twitch.tv/Marty Sakala. Let's get things right into it and bring you your starting lineup. On the front row is Jeff Crosby Jr., 50.482, with Jason Branch next to him. Row number 2, it's Chris and Shane Davis in the 29 and the 30. Row number 3, Anthony Monroe in the 82, and Pat Hernandez in the 19. Row 4, Tyler Glass driving the number 5, and Mark Jackson in the number 1. Rounding out the top 10, Derek Heitman in the 76, Justin Phipps in the 89. Row 6, Jeff Crosby Sr. in the 15, and Joe Letourneau in the 22. Row number 7 is Jamie Abro in the number 20, Matt Pelletier in the 27. Row 8, Eli Raposa in the 46, Casey Duncan is in car number 18. Row 9, Brandon Freezes in the 21, Alan Martin in the 05. Row 10 is Riley Lambert in the number 50 and Jordan Stencel in the 83. And rounding out the grid tonight, Ryan Douglas in the 9 and Thomas Mitchell in the 6. Biggest car count we have had this season, 22 drivers. As we get things set to go, let's give you your race analysis again. Again, it's 100 laps and 200 miles around the 3-mile Hyper Speedway. 36 degrees of bankings in the turns. Pit will see speeds of well over 200 miles an hour, around 225 to 230 throughout the day. Fuel window 17 to 19 laps, meaning for just about a 5 pit stop race. Capacity 125,000. If you missed us last week, the driver of the number 76, Derek Heitman, going back-to-back in victories here, as he led the final 40-some laps or so, 50, 60-some laps, I should say, in order to take home the victory. Here's how it went down last week. Heitman leading 81 of the 200 laps we had in the race. Only one caution at Dover Motor Speedway, caused by Drew Jua, who had led 105 laps in the race and had a chance to lap the entire field, but then penalty for too much over the box. Where you see the field going down the back straightaway. This is a super speedway unlike any other, unique in its way, because this is not your normal tri-oval. This is a long oval with a front straightaway and not a front stretch with an oval with a dogleg in it. It's got a back straightaway, 36 degrees of banking, and no restrictor plates. Drivers are coming off of turn number 4 as the trucks are about to take action for the first time this season. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now, except for the iRacing Superspeedway? A Crosby on the front row alongside Branch. Here we go, it's showtime at the Superspeedway. Already, drivers hitting 180 miles an hour into turn number 1. And you'll see the speeds on how they go throughout the night. Crosby Jr. comes away with the advantage. Down the back straightaway, Jason Branch trying to get a push from Shane Davis in the number 30, as they've well eclipsed the 200 centennial mark. Got the 29 of Chris Davis up in second spot, and look how wobbly his truck is. You've got to be oh so careful with the way the trucks handle here. Again, no restrictor plates, and they can get very wobbly very easy. So So Crosby Jr. leads the opening lap here in this one. And immediately one driver trying to thread the needle. I think going up on the outside, pardon me, is Mark Jackson. You can make 3 lines work. The high side is where you'll want to be on the straightaways because that's where you get all the banking to your advantage. Low side's where you want to be, though, in the corners, that's for sure. And you got to hold the wheel as tight as possible because if you do not hold the wheel steady, you're going for a wild ride. 2x2 racing throughout is off of turn number 4. We got drivers nearly hitting that apron. You can absolutely go down there. Just gotta be careful on how you do it. Anthony Monroe, the new leader in this one, in the number 82. Monroe finishing in the 17th last week did not have a good showing. Again, a push from Tyler Glass in the number 5. Glass representing the Purdue University, one of their players, I believe, getting drafted into the National Football League earlier this weekend. Very cool to see. Monroe cuts down in front of Jeff Crosby Jr. You've got to be very careful of how you do that here at the iRacing Superspeedway because the drivers on the low side, the entrance of the corners, can really get up to the doors within a second. That's how quick they're going here. Look at this. Again, that's no restrictor plates. Top speed, 230 miles an hour into turn number 1. Oh, there they go already. No. The big one on lap number 4. Raposa, Jackson, Stencel. And the first yellow is out. Raposa has taken it to the pit roads. There you see Mark Jackson, who had a great run last week, finishing inside the top 3. Tyler Glass. This happened about mid-pack. And so drivers that were involved in that wreck likely will have to use a quick repair early, especially for those that have gotten towed. And you can't see from up here, but drivers are definitely going past them. So for the first time this evening, let's take an opportunity to take a look at our replay and see what brought out the yellow flag. Oh, there was some contact from Jackson. A couple of guys catching some huge air. Nobody, though, I don't think went on their legs. Let's look from our aerial shot. That should give us a much better perspective. You can see there's the contact from Jackson. Came down into the 28, the 19, the 15. Boy, Pelletier, as well as Shane Davis, just missed the accident. I think the 05 Alan Martin got through it, but that is at least 8 cars that were involved, 8 trucks, I should say, that were involved in that. Well, we're about to show you what it looked like from a couple of drivers' perspectives, and for starters, we'll go to Eli Raposa. Comes at you out of nowhere. Saw the underbody of another car. Let's go to Mark Jackson. Show you how he got into the car. That looked to be a low neck clip at the same time. You gotta have like the best reactions here at this track. A lot of drivers as well. You can hear some engines exploding. Let's go to Jordan Stencel. The back of this. Thought all the drivers were going to shift to the low side, and Stencel just came flying in there. Give you one more here. That's Jamie Abro. The inside, he got turned from behind as he was trying to save it, which he did. Tried to find a hole, and it just shut on him. go to Pat Hernandez. That's how he got involved in it in the wreck. Tyler Glass, whose car was already done. So after all of that, only took us 3 1/4 laps, and we already had calamity in our first big one. More drivers coming in. Again, keep in mind the window here is 17 to 19 laps, so you can definitely understand why drivers are coming in. Likely fuel only stops here, and the reason why we say that is because in this race tonight, there are only 3 sets of tires. So you may see a lot of drivers going for 2 tires in some of these stops. So while we are doing that, we are going to get set to go to green here for our first restart, as drivers are just continuing to top off on fuel. So let's reset the field here for you, as Anthony Monroe and Chris Davis are on row 1. Matt Pelletier and Shane Davis, row 2. Justin Phipps and Jeff Crosby Jr. in row 3. They should be tying things up here. Derek Heitman should restart next to Jeff Crosby Sr. And then, I don't think we know who's behind Sr. yet. So Monroe selects the inside line for this restart. I don't know. I don't think he's going to go on the green flag. I don't think he's going to go on his own pace. I think he's going to wait until the green flag comes back out, and we've decided to add another lap here before we go back to the green flag. So while we're at it, let's listen to some audio from your favorite drivers.
Hello, Seth. Patrick, I'm coming. I'm in 4 now.
The game is telling me that I have to let him pick the car by, but he's nowhere to be seen.
Alright guys, I know links on your stuff, pass me here, pass me there, just whatever your heads-up display is saying, just do that. We got plenty of time to fix it. So let's get it straightened away before we go green here.
So it looks like we're good to go. And I think we are. Matt Pelletier in that 27, though, off to a great start. Up 11 spots from the drop of the green flag.
I think I got it figured out. Sorry, guys. I got it all screwed.
Also got Riley Lambert up 10 spots from the drop of the green flag in 9th position. So it's Monroe Davis, row 1. Chris Davis, Pelletier, and Shane Davis in row 2. Phipps and Crosby Jr. in row 3. Heitman, Crosby Sr. row 4. And then Riley Lambert, Jamie Abro, top 10. So ready to go back to the green flag. 8 laps will go up on the board. First truck race of the season. Monroe fired on his own pace as we're back to green. not what the field wants to see. A blinking Monroe. Low side comes out with the early advantage off of turn 2. Only 2 guys up on the high side. Pelletier decides, let's thread the needle. Let's go 3 wide for the race lead. But does anybody go with them? From the looks of it, it doesn't look like it. Unless he just wanted to try and lead a lap here, but not going to. May decide to drop to the back. I'm not too sure on that. There's that little bump that you're seeing off of turn 4 that's really freaking the cars out here. I'm not sure if it has to do with that or what. 16 drivers on the lead lap after all of that. Of course, a lot of drivers had to be told from the mishaps on lap number 4 due to the big one. 3 wide for second. Pelletier this time stuck up on the outside. And now it looks like we're continuing 2x2 action. Let's go for our gyro cam here. Justin Phipps is going to show us our first angle here. This track is not flat, especially on the straightaways. You can see how it is compared to the apron here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Look at this. Everybody leaves Anthony Monroe out to dry. Jeff Crosby Jr. takes the race lead. Now Phipps goes up to the outside, and just look at the 36 degrees of banking. Pulling up onto the driver's side. So Junior goes to the point. Let's see if we can show you how he was able to make the pass work for the race lead. Not sure if we have it actually here. We do. Here's how he did it. Watch on the outside. Slingshot engaged, and he had hope. So it's Crosby Jr. out at the point, and now you got Davis and Monroe side by side for second. Nobody wanted to work with Monroe in the early stages of this one. Early here for the looks of it, drivers wanted to play it safe and go single file. Some drivers going double file to see how they can do up on the higher groove, like Jordan Stenzel is doing along with Riley Lambert. Remember, oh, caution's out. We got trouble. And we believe this involved Brandon Freeze and maybe Riley Raposa. Raposa, excuse me. Casey Duncan headed into pit road. Freeze was the main man involved. I don't know what brought our second yellow of the evening. Up, yep, there it was. He got some help, and I think that was Jackson again. Another look. Why you never bumped draft into corners. I don't think that was actually Jackson. I don't know who that was. Let's ride on board from the rear end. There's the engine. Oh, that is the 28, I believe, of Jason Branch. Luckily, it was just a 360 spin. It was not Jason Branch. I think it was actually Joe Letourneau. Let's see if this was. Yep, this was him. As Freeze goes up the track. Pit road is open. Everybody's coming in, by the way. And so Crosby Jr. leads the field down in. And so he wins the race off pit road. Letourneau stays out. I think what he's going to do, he's going to try and get bonus points for leading a lap, and then he'll come in. Once again, a lot of fuel-only stops. I think some drivers are doing 2 tires on pit road, but from the bulk of everybody, fuel only on our second yellow of the day. So Letourneau leads. Let us know, by the way, while we are at it. Let us know who you're rooting for in chat. We'll be able to give you a shout out. Garrett says, got a good feeling about the Davis brothers racing team tonight. You got Chris Davis in 10th, and then Shane Davis in 13th. We'll listen to some driver chatter once again.
Whatever the heads-up display is telling you to do, just do that. I'm sure it'll sort itself out eventually.
Yeah, you're right. It fixed itself.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it'll do it whenever it wants to, or it might wait until we cross the third finish line to do it. But yeah, just whatever it says to do, just do that.
You take the inside there, Jeffrey?
Yes, sir. I did call that right. Hopefully everybody heard that.
Just to clarify, what are you picking? You're picking inside, obviously.
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, you're good.
I was a lucky dog. It's telling me to drop the end, but these guys are like 27.
I had my headphones off when we were talking about the pit road. Are you talking about doing like NASCAR, stay to the right and turn 5-way?
21, you got to... 21, if you can't... Can 21 drive or...
Hey, we got plenty of time here, guys. We're not even in turn 3 yet, but yeah, just to answer your question, like.
So we're set for the restart. Drivers are in turn number 3, and we will reset it for you right now. So it is Jeff Crosby Jr. and Anthony Monroe, row 1. Matt Pelletier, Pat Hernandez, row 2. Jeff Crosby Sr., Alan Martin in row 3. Jamie Abro and Riley Lambert, row 4. Chris Davis and Derek Heitman round out the top 10. Pace car ready to hit pit road. And it's in the control of Jeff Crosby Jr. So Crosby Jr. gets things going. Let's look at the speed entering turn number 1. 177 miles an hour entering the corner. You got Pelletier working on him. Monroe just finds some room in front of Senior to get down on the low side and work with the 33. You know, Senior and Junior are going to work together. The 15 Kellogg's truck is not going to pull out of line. That's for sure. 218 entering turn number 3, but the speeds are just going to continue to increase and increase. Everyone working on the inside line of the racetrack as close as they can to the apron. Only very few people want to go up the track. Hernandez is one of the drivers that's on the outside line. As you see where he fell back on that restart, all the way back to 8th. 220 miles an hour entering turn number 1 for the drivers. As Senior and Pelletier side by side for third. Here goes the outside slingshot. Anthony Monroe, can he take the race lead away? And And the answer is no. He's still side by side, but he's trying to side draft, and he may get shuffled out here. Just finds a hole in front of Senior once again, was nearly 3 wide off the corner as he gets loose off of 4, just touches the apron. Intense racing for the race lead, and it's only lap 18 of 100. You've got 3 wide behind them. This is on board with Chris Davis from the rear end. You've got Turner up there on the outside. Phipps is running in the middle, and now Davis starting to make some moves. He's up to 3rd, but I don't think anybody on the top 2 is going to pounce on the inside line, maybe except for Monroe because he had a good slingshot, but then realized it may not be enough. Couple of drivers shuffling out. Oh, look out, that's Jackson. Oh, my. Up on his lid. And the 05 of Alan Martin is involved as well. We've got our 3rd caution of the evening. This place right now is pretty much torture to the opponents. There's Mark Jackson, who's going to try and go an extra lap. As you can see, a lot of skew on the car. That truck is torn up, and his day may be done. Show you what happened here with the 1 of Jackson. As he just started getting really loose and came down in front, and wow, into the fence. That was ugly. Was there something else that may have perhaps caused what went down? That was a late situation. There was some contact, I think, with Letourneau. Then that car just got sideways. If you make contact here on the corners, you're likely going for a wild ride. But man, Mark Jackson's car just like ramped up. Used the hood as a ramp or something over Alan Martin. Watch this angle once again. Can we rewind that shot? Look at this. Look at that. What? That's some incredible camera work by our iRacing, by our friends at iRacing. Let's show you another angle here. The infield. And I think this is our grandstand shot. Let's do some onboard shots here while we're at it. Let's go to Allen. He was trying to miss the rack. Holding his line, had absolutely nowhere to go. And then we got one more. It's Ryan Douglas. I think he was just trying to miss the exit cue to stop. Oh, nope. He got a piece of that as well. If he just on the brakes longer on the line, I think he would have missed it, so. That will likely take some people out of it for sure, but a couple of drivers did come in Hernandez, Heitman, Branch, Glass, Stenzel, Raposo, Lambert, and Freeze. Your top 7 drivers on track all decide to stay out as more come in. Listen to some audio.
Hear that much.
Gonna take the outside this time. Outside.
Hey guys, pay attention what that heads-up display says. We're getting some confusion here.
So we are set to go back to green for another restart here as we are on lap number 21 of this race. It's Junior and Monroe, the front row. Junior selecting the outside here. Row number 2 is Chris Davis and Senior. Row 3, Matt Pelletier, Derek Heitman. Row 4, Jamie Abro, and we don't know who's on the outside. It'll be Riley Lambert, then it's Tyler Glass, and I think it should be Eli Raposa here. So we're coming back to green, 21 on the boards. Here we go. You'll see how the line is shifting, where the momentum's going to be. Of course, the low line, it's always where you want to be on these restarts. You see Monroe get up to the 15 of Senior, but not working. The top 2 are not going to budge. That is for sure. So Monroe, Chris Davis, and Matt Pelletier will have to shift up to the outside, and that's what you see Pelletier doing in the 27. The thing is with Pelletier, he's got no help, but that help may be coming right now. That's Abro in the 20 that was trying to make a move. And off the corner, there they go. Monroe's up to second, looking for the race lead. And Davis wants to go with. A nice push to the Chevy Silverado. He goes to the race lead. Top 6, by the way, all Silverados on the track. So Anthony Monroe takes his 82 car out to the point for the first time in this race. And you've got about 11 drivers in this pack alone. One guy stuck up on the outside in the back of the field, and that is Heitman in the 76. Glass up there as well in that Purdue 51 with Abro in the 20. Oh, look at how tight that is between Pelletier and Senior. Senior getting shuffled back as you ride on board with Abro. That is not what Senior or Crosby Jr. wanted. Now they're stuck up on the outside, which is actually Senior's the only one stuck on the outside. Junior is still down on the bottom of the racetrack. Junior, meanwhile, just punching the heck out of Anthony Monroe. Nearly shoved him into turn number 1. Bump drafting will be a big factor later on in this race. In the straights, that for sure. If you bump draft in the corners, you are guaranteed to be going around with the guy you bump drafted. So if you bump draft, you're taking yourself out in this race too. So all drivers are still running on the racetrack except for 4. Davis, Jackson, and Douglas are in the pits with Joe Letourneau out of this race. We've completed 25% of our first truck race of the season for the Hoosier Racing League. If you just joined us, we are at iRacing Superspeedway for live coverage. Marty Scala with you on the call here. Next week, we're doing our cycle all over again with the league, as we'll be taking the next gens to Charlotte Motor Speedway on May 8th. So be sure to join us at 8 p.m. on twitch.tv/Marty Scala. Now we're starting to see something that we haven't seen a lot of tonight. You've got a choo-choo train developing. Monroe leading on Crosby Jr., who is still continuing to bump draft for Crosby, though. has to be very careful of his oil and water temps, because if he pushes way too much, his car could blow up and he'd be done for the day. You see he lets off. When you have water temp at like 230 or so, that's okay, but when it's like 240, that's when you should start to take a little bit of notice. Chris Davis up on the outside, trying to see if he gets something to work, but I think everybody just working on the low side at the moment. We've yet to talk about Derek Heitman in this race, your points leader, as well as two-time winner this season in 3 races, coming off back-to-back wins in Atlanta and Dover, right in 5th position. But again, he does the same thing that Davis was trying. Look at the outside, and because of that, he is going to the back. See Davis still not trying to give up, so perhaps him and Heitman could try and get something set up, but a lot of drivers are playing it safe in this lead pack. Riley Lambert, of course, our Daytona winner, one of them. Remember, when he won at Daytona, only led 1 lap. That was the final one, of course. That's pretty much the only lap that counts in all of this when it comes to racing in general. In the back of this pack, you are looking at a couple of other drivers. Brandon Freeze, and how about that? Even involved that second caution. He spun all by himself, didn't sustain too much damage, and I don't even think he used his quick repair. He's up in 14th still in a battle to try and win this race. Along with Jason Branch, Pat Hernandez, Tyler Glass and company. And the high side starting to get formed up here. Abro and Pelletier, there's one driver all the way up on the top shelf next to the wall, and that's Chris Davis, who is upstairs, but getting no help at the moment. Ducks down in line, currently in 5th position, but because of everything that has happened amongst the racing from 3rd on back, because of that, the top 2 starting to pull away here. We see a little bit of tandem drafting shortly, but I don't think we will. This pack is about to swallow them. And as you can see, single file racing developing once again. But tandem racing, oh, look out. Oh, boy, Pelletier, here we go. Yikes. Abro, I think Freeze was involved, but that may have been the only 2. Abro was the first one, I think, and I don't even know if it was either from a bump draft or he got loose. But that was crazy. Luckily for the leaders, they were in their window to be pitting shortly. So they'll definitely be using the clutch. Here is what happened. I think, oh, there was a little bit of a bump draft. Pelletier was trying to get out of the gas because he saw Abro bobble. And this is where it got crazy. Heitman just misses. Look at all those drivers dodging left and right, left and right. Alan Martin gets a piece of it. So I think we had a 3-car accident in all of this. Let's watch this once again. And he took a heavy shot, a sledgehammer shot. So Heitman did get a piece of it. I thought he would have been fine after net coating Pelletier into the air. Then that second lick did the trick. I'm gonna ride 2 old shots here with Pelletier. This is without the gyro. There's the bump. Boy, that's scary to be in that race car. All the G-forces. I mean, he doesn't feel those G-forces, obviously. He just sees it in the car. But, like, here's how even nasty it is. Look at that. When you got a butt kicker, though, you could definitely feel those. So another yellow flag is out as the leaders all pit for fuel, maybe tires. Crosby Jr. decides to go 2 tires on his stop, others perhaps 4. Listen to some audio here at the moment.
On that. I got 57 minutes off required repairs, so I'm done.
Oof.
Hey, 21. Can you hear me, buddy?
Yep.
Hey man, sorry there. Turn 3. I didn't mean to block you or something. I'm just trying to jog around the carnage. My bad there.
I don't think it's anything. It's all good.
Inside. Taking the inside.
Go low, Tyler.
All right, y'all. Pace car is halfway down the backstretch. Let's get caught up if you can. We are not extending this, so get caught up as quickly as you can, and I shouldn't see anybody lagging back.
Coming up the inside here. Thank you, 27.
So we're ready to go back to the green flag
27, I will be slow. I do have damage.
after our 4th yellow of the evening. We'll have completed 33 when we take the green. Crosby Jr. leads Davis, and then Monroe, Raposa, Phipps, Lambert, Freeze, Stencel, Senior, and Hernandez, the top 10. We're ready to go back to the green flag. Only 13 drivers on the lead lap. Junior once again with a good jump in front of Davis. Monroe, perhaps his worst restart of the day. Justin Phipps, perhaps, I believe, the highest he's been in the race so far, along with Raposa. But the slingshot on the outside. Monroe is a guy that wants to be up front whenever he can. And he's got the help. Here comes Raposa in the green 46. 2 by 2 entering turn number 3. The high side once again does not work in the corners. You want to be as low as possible. The best way to pass up front, a slingshot on the straightaways. Riley Lambert up in 4th position, by the way. Normally he's hanging out in the rear of the field. But because of all these yellows that he's been able to dodge, he's decided, you know what, I think it's my time up in the front. Meanwhile, Monroe tries once again, and this time Lambert wants to go with. Davis and Crosby Jr. bobbled just a little bit. They nearly got sideways. Lambert's truck is pushing tight. At the moment, allows Senior to take a spot away from him. Lambert, by the way, biggest mover of the race from 19th to 5th. Eli Raposa, the second biggest mover. He started in 15th. Now we're starting to see 3 different lines potentially being formed here. Top 3 trying to use the line of their own. Matt Pelletier, who, by the way, is trying to get back on the lead lap. I believe he is the first truck a lap down, and that is the case. So he's looking for a yellow soon, or ASAP, so he can get back on the lead lap. But with the way the cars in front of him are going slowly to get a long run, like Pat Hernandez, Jordan Stenzel, and Tyler Glass, he could perhaps blow by them both and get back on the lead lap. Remember, Pelletier recovering from that last yellow after a huge hit. Only had a toe and had to use his only quick repair of the race. It's still Junior, then Davis and Monroe. Pelletier looking to go up on the outside once again. Poster and Phipps taking the bait. And look at this, Monroe wants to go up there too. A little bit of blocking, and Pelletier says, "You just got lucky, old man." Just kidding, I don't know how old Monroe is. Not sure how it looks. He gets by Davis for second. Now the next game plan here is to try and side draft out for Crosby Jr. It looks like he doesn't have the help of the momentum. Does he go up here? Nope, he lets off. Fourth car on the low line this time is Crosby Sr. Lambert's decided to drop back along with Freeze, Branch, and Heitman. Along with Pat Hernandez and Jordan Stenzel. Tyler Glass was the one I was performing who was off the pace. But now here we go, challenge on the outside for the lead from the 82. With the help from Matt Pelletier, they are side by side. This may be the best we've seen the high side go to work in this race. And now you see another car to the outside. That's Raposa on the 46, who takes it 3 wide. 3 wide for 30. He's got no help, and we're under caution. Ryan Douglas has crashed in the number 9 machine. That is in turn 2. Oh my goodness! They're wrecking after the caution flag. Crosby Jr., that's the leader, by the way. And I think there is damage, front end damage to the 33. And Thomas Mitchell was also involved. Post-mortem activity. Let's see what happened here first. Oh, there was a little hook from Douglas, the 18. Ooh, an upside down goes the 9. That's Casey Duncan, the 18. Then look at... I'm baffled. Let's see what happened to Crosby. That had to have been, like, the worst neck coat I've ever seen in my life. Take that, Excal. Wow, that was big net code. Luckily for Crosby, he made the save. And did he even... He suffered damage from that, too. That's insane. Let's ride on board with Douglas. Yeah. Just ran out of room with Casey Duncan. Look at that. Wow. Up and over he goes and back on top of the 18 as well. Then watch this. Here's a surprise. Right there. I almost hit Douglas. There was Jeff Crosby Jr. right on board. There's not even any contact. We're hearing something else as well with Thomas Mitchell. Oh, this was in the wreck where he was off the pace. Coming off at turn 2. Take a look and see if anybody decides to come in here. They're off at turn 4. You ride with Junior. Luckily, he maintains his position. But will he be forced to take optional? Or will he be forced to take repairs? Or is it his choice? Everybody as of right now comes in except for Monroe. Monroe's going to wait a couple extra laps. So we'll see what happens. Heitman comes out of the pits. Actually, he stays out. Chris Davis wins the race off pit road. And the thing that concerned us, Crosby Jr. taking a 25-second stop to repair damage. You can see the paint scuffs he's got in his car. So listen to race control while we're at it.
Yeah, next race.
Hell, I probably should have pitted.
I just went and looked at that contact between the 33 and the 82 was neckhead. It was like a foot between them.
You go to high or low, Anthony.
Yeah, the broadcasters did say the same thing about the neck code.
Yeah, inside.
Cool. Same for.
Hey, 29 though, could you do me a favor and try to hold a little bit better line? You make me a little nervous, bud. I'm sorry, what was that? Your truck seems to be dancing all over the place. It just makes me nervous. I'll watch it, but it looks good on my screen. It's all good, brother.
Hey, so I know this has been a little bit of a hectic race, guys, and obviously this is a new track to us, so keep your heads up. We've still got plenty of racing left to go here. It hasn't been too bad. Just we've got to be a little more patient here. I mean, it's crazy watching everybody tripped up because of the banking here, but just keep that in mind, and you know, we got a lot of racing left here, so just keep it up. Let's get caught up here, guys. Let's get caught up. Pay attention to the heads of display here. We're getting ready to go green.
So ready to go back to the green flag. We'll have 58 laps to go under this green flag situation. Monroe will bring them back to the green flag. The only driver to stay out, so he's going to hope for a caution about 8 laps or so. That could end Monroe's race. It's a risky move with the driver of the 82. It's a good restart, but this is a big issue. He's opening up a little bit of a gap on Eli Raposa. Monroe having no help temporarily. Run to the outside for 46, looking for the race lead. But a thread the needle move by Chris Davis. Oh, wow! Chris Chris Davis, what a move. One of the Davis brothers taking no prisoners. Davis goes to the point. Now he's got to come down on Monroe, and he does just in the nick of time. Pelletier's in the pits, along with Derek Hyman. I think they have to serve a penalty. Run on the outside for Raposa, see if he can get that to work. He's lost a little bit of time. That allows Jason Branch, who we've yet to talk about in this race, move up into the 3rd position. The highest he's been in today is 2nd, as we've got a battle for the race lead once again. Here comes Monroe on the outside with Branch pushing him. They go 1-2 for right now, and Monroe is back to the front. Raposa thinking about an additional 3rd line. Decides to keep it right tucked behind the Surf Pro truck of Branch. No bump draft as of right now. How about Junior rebounding after this attempt? Oh, 46 in the wall, Raposa. Just scraped it in return number 1. I think there was a bad block from either Branch or one of the Crosbys. But he keeps it going in a very, very close call. For the lead, though, Davis on the outside once again. Can he get that to work? Loses some more time once again. Junior up to 2nd with the guy he wants to be with. 2 guys he wants to be with if you count Senior. And there goes Senior up to the outside, but Junior doesn't go with him. That baffles me there. I think they're going to wait till the final laps to work together potentially. Just set them up, just work their race. It's a long race at the moment, but look at 2 drivers all the way up on the top side. That is Duncan. That's not Duncan. That is Jason Branch with Raposa. Here's how high they're getting. .223 miles an hour, 224, and they're in the corner. And they're right in the middle groove of this banking. Now a little bit of lap traffic. As Monroe continues to lead him. Top 4 working together on the inside, not wanting to give it up unless they can get some help. This pack is starting to shape up here just a little bit. Justin Phipps working the bottom in 5th position. You got 5 drivers on the lower groove. And then you got another 5 on the top side, led by Jason Branch. And I think they shift down to the bottom. Jordan Stenzel in 10th position, who's hanging along with Brandon Fries and Pat Hernandez. Riley Lambert in 11th, pulling the Lambert strategy. Bump trap from Junior. As he gets his going. The high side is losing a little bit of time from the looks of it compared to the front of the field. Top 6 have been able to pull away by about a second. Do you see the gap, how it looks? First time really we've seen this, a pack split up with the trucks here today. Branch tried the outside, that doesn't work on his end. And so now we got single file racing. This is not what the leader wants. Remember? The window's just around 19 laps or so, or 20 laps. Monroe's going to need a caution shortly. I think he's signaling that he's coming in this time. Does he want Crosby to pass him or something? I'm not really too sure. You see a high side starting to form once again. That's Jason Branch trying something out on Justin Phipps. Working on lap traffic, that's Glass in the 5. Monroe waits. Once he comes in, this will put Jeff Crosby Jr. out in the front of the field. Phipps trying once again the outside. The green car's going at it with Phipps and Raposa. Raposa, his second start of the year. Phipps also as well. These are guys that like the super speedways in general. That's why they're out tonight. No moves yet from the leader. We are halfway home here at the iRacing Superspeedway. 50 down and 50 to go. Anthony Monroe continues to lead. It's been a combination of him, Crosby Jr., and Davis throughout this race that have been leading. Now the Peloton pack starting to become 8 drivers under a blanket with Jason Branch caboosing at the rear. And Monroe's in. Monroe is in the pits. And his strategy has backfired. Only driver to not pit it under that last yellow. And because of this, he's going to be all by himself, Mr. Lonely. And you don't want to be alone here at iRacing Superspeedway. We'll see if he can get a yellow flag, though, in time to keep himself on the lead lap. We'll just have to see, though. So now the leader is Jeff Crosby Jr. in the Harry Gant throwback number 33. Senior up in third, Brandon Fries. We talked about how one of his strategies earlier on in this race was to hang out in, perhaps to hang out in the rear. Well, he is up in the 5th position and is now your biggest mover of the race. Started 17th. He is up in 5th spot. Nice run for the driver of the 21. You see the right side paint scuff. That was from a spin he was involved in earlier in the second yellow of the race. So Monroe goes a lap down and is in 11th position. And he is the first car 1 lap down on track. So a yellow would put him back on the free path. Put him back on the lead lap, would receive the free pass, currently 35 seconds in front of Matt Pelletier. Matt Pelletier also by himself as well, so that will be a big factor. We've completed 53 laps so far here at iRacing Superspeedway. Let's turn up the volume and crank it up. 55 laps are complete here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Crosby Jr. continues to lead. Anthony Monroe just had to pit moments ago. He's currently 1 lap down. It seems like now that Monroe is out of the pack, drivers can run a single file line and just focus on just being patient, driving their own race, and not make any contact with the other drivers. Because when you had Monroe out there, he was perhaps the most aggressive. He was the riskiest driver out there that wanted to make passes on the track. So let us know, by the way, in chat who you are rooting for and what do you think about the race so far. Good battle happening on track behind them. Couple drivers side by side. That's Brandon Fries, will go by Pat Hernandez. Stenso as well in that Red Bull throwback in the number 83. It's been very quiet in this race, but running near the lead pack, so perhaps he could be a threat to win along with Riley Lambert. Don't want to be up at the front, they want to be at the back. But the thing is, though, at the same time, when you're hanging out at the back of this field, you take a risk of being involved in the big one, not being able to miss it. This is again, once again, just like there is in racing, a race of different strategies. Where do you want to be? You see Raposa in the middle groove of the racetrack. Can't find anything in his W car. Derek Heitman in that 76. You think he's in 4th position. He is not. Currently 2 laps down on the racetrack, but from the looks of it, has a much better car. Would love to get one of his 2 laps back at the moment, and so we'll see what happens. The leaders, by the way, we're expecting them shortly for pit stop, so keep that in mind, along with Heitman. So we'll just have to see when they come down, and I'd probably expect 2 groups to come down. Garrett Belcher watching once again says Chris Davis running a good race, that's for sure. Shane Davis out of the race in 15th spot. And so here we go, leaders are in. Do we see any lockups amongst the field? Nope, they're good. The yellow cone where they want to be. Pit road speed here. It's about 60, 65 miles an hour or so. And so while they're in, 4 drivers decide to stay out together. And those were the drivers that had a strategy at the same time. Brandon Fries, Pat Hernandez, Jordan Stenzel, and Riley Lambert. See what the drivers decide to do. We're seeing some 4-tire calls. So as they merge out, they may merge together with this first pack, but will be a lap behind. And so Fries, Hernandez, and Stenzel come in, but not Lambert. You think that this may cost him. However, though, he is working with Hyman and his teammate. They want to be together when they come in, but you want to be in that lead pack. Crosby Jr. exiting the pits in front of Crosby Sr. We'll see this pack start to come together shortly. There's Jason Branch, Eli Raposa. Leaders all come out on a 4-tire strategy. And I think they'll be in front of the leaders when they come out. Riley Lambert, by the way, is in the pits. I don't see Heitman, though. Heitman, oh, man, this is not going to work for Riley Lambert. He will be all by himself. No draft. So Lambert makes his stop. for tires and fuel. And so Brandon Freeze currently should come out as the race leader. Crosby Sr. and Jr. were swallowed up. They fell back to 5th and 6th. And so Freeze, Hernandez, and Stenzel came out as the leaders. And in front. There's Lambert in 1 and 2, and he's about to get past. Right there. So Brandon Freeze back to 3rd as we've got a battle for the lead. Pat Hernandez, Jordan Stenzel, the HS Motorsports teammates up on the outside, and look at that! The Crosby family decides to go from high to low in the nick of time, nearly causing a huge wreck. Heitman now comes down to pit road. Good idea to come in now, because at this rate, they look like they're going to wreck here. So Hernandez, the race leader, in a 5-truck breakaway. Freeze stuck on the outside. Then you've got a second pack, 6 seconds back. Jason Branch currently in P6 with Raposa behind him. Then you've got Lambert, who merged in front of Davis. Lambert's in 8th. For those wondering where Anthony Monroe is, he is in 11th with no help at all. Longest green flag run we've had by far. And so from the looks of it, from this point on, if we go green to the end, we're looking at a one-stop race. Drivers pitting on lap 60 and 59. Oh boy, you know what? They pit on lap 60 and 59. They're guaranteed one more stop, but they may have to save some fuel for that to get to the finish. Because once again, 19 lap fuel window. I would be very concerned about fuel at the moment on the long run. Tyler Glass just exiting pit road at the moment. Leaders working on Matt Pelletier. So Pelletier lets the leaders go by. So right on board with Hernandez. Comes a bump draft to the Toyota. Pelletier goes 2 laps down. That definitely helps out Monroe. If he goes a lap down, then he'll go back on the lead lap. For those wondering where the 82 is, you see it on the map. He's in the middle of 1 and 2. Leaders exiting 4. Go back to that second pack led by Jason from Branch. They're all working together as well on the low side. Now, are some drivers perhaps trying to stretch this on this run and save fuel? That way they can have a sprint to the finish line. Well, that could be the case for pack number 2. Let's compare the lap times for the final guy in the lead pack, that being Jordan Stenzel, compared to the guy behind him. You see how slower that second pack is, 0.3 of a second slower. So while we are seeing 47-second lap times to what we're expecting, actually faster that last time by, or pardon me, 48.8 second lap times to 49.12s or something like that. I think these guys right now at the moment are saving fuel. And that could help them out to the end if they're expecting a run to the finish. Pelletier, by the way, has merged in with this lead pack. And hope that they don't catch to Anthony Monroe and get a yellow, so Pelletier can get one of his 2 laps back. Looking back at that second pack where we see the 5 drivers of Branch, Raposa, Lambert, Davis, and Phipps. I think if you're a guy like, excuse me, Phipps is not in the pack. I think if you're a guy like Branch or Lambert, those guys have been very quiet throughout the race. This is the pack you probably want to be in. But the risk you take, you're not in the first pack, the tail of the first pack to say. But if the first pack does have a wreck, then you could easily miss it. So no drivers making some moves amongst the lead pack at the moment. Crosby Jr. again, working on that back bumper of his father. Tell you, by the way, Anthony Monroe, you see on the bottom of the screen, he is back in the pits. You can see the bump drafting that Junior is putting to Senior, picking up an extra car length or 2 on Brandon Freeze. But again, that big risk he takes, and we talked about this earlier, is that Junior increasing his temperatures, especially on the water side of things. You can cook an engine here in as little as 3 laps. The Crosbys have been on both sides of the spectrum this season. When you look at Crosby Jr., he's come close to winning 2 races this season. He's got 2 seconds and 1/3. 2 straight runner-up finishes entering this race. Lost in Atlanta in a photo finish to Heitman. And then Senior, who's been racked up in spins that have not led to yellow flags and just tough situations. He's 11th in points. Best finish, a 9th at Daytona this year. Last week he had a 12th place finish at Dover. Last time by for the leaders of the 2 packs, Crosby Sr. 48.19. For Branch, a 47.97. So that second pack is closing the gap down. Inch by inch. Now you see how quick it is. That's 6 seconds separating now on the track. I think that second pack is not getting wacky out of line like you see Stencil. They're doing a much better job at holding the racing line, in my opinion. You see it right there. They're not getting wonky in that second pack. We'll show you how it looks in 3 and 4, and then we go to the front of the field in 1 and 2. Three and 4 really wasn't that good there, though, for them. You see they're just following each other at a smooth pace. We'll show you the drivers here in 1 and 2. That time for the leaders, that was a lot better. But that gap is closing. Second pack was about 3/10 quicker last time by. So that second pack may be where you want to be. Let's see if we can listen to some audio from this second pack. Once we get it, we'll pass it along to you. We have it enabled. So oh, trouble for Anthony Monroe, who has jumped into the pits. Oh my goodness, and he's out of the race. What a shame for Monroe. This did not bring a caution. Did he just quit? Because of his... I think he just quit because his strategy backfired on him. So Anthony Monroe done for the day. Jamie, thanks for the heads up, by the way, on that pronunciation. I'll make sure for next time. So lead pack still working together, and we should expect them in about 5 laps from now. At second pack, once again closing in. Just seconds back, compared at the line this time. Half second faster. Look at the gap. Last time by 2 laps ago, I should say, they were 3/4 of a second faster. Oh, and here we go for pit stops, actually. So Branch and Raposa come in, and that is going to put them, it's going to make them about 5 to 4 laps short with 24 to go. They closed the gap down to 2 seconds, but that second pack now back 3 seconds. So not what they wanted. I think they don't want to try and work with them, perhaps. I'm not too sure, though. Leaders are in once again. And look at this. Crosby Jr. gets in front of Senior on pit row. That's a big advance. Big jump, I should say. And so here we go. We'll watch the leaders stop. And again, we'll show you the track map where they cycle through in front of Jason Branch. They'll most definitely get the jump. Everyone taking as much fuel as they can in their load, that's for sure. And so Freeze comes out in front of the Crosbys. That is another huge overtake there. An 11-second stop, and much better on pit road by 3 seconds. Stenzel, Hernandez, and Davis also in, and then you got Lambert, who's getting some assistance from, that is Heitman and the Navy car of, that is Branch, just to make sure. So Lambert, the only one yet to come out. So the undercut, I shouldn't say the undercut, but Freeze and the Crosbys get in front of Jason Branch, but Branch is closing in once again. He's got the drop from Heitman and Lambert, which will bring him up to the leaders. So this has worked for Jason Branch. Meanwhile, he got by Crosby Sr., and he's pulling away by 4 seconds. Here goes Branch outside on Crosby Jr. This could be for the race lead. And we're 3 wide. Crosby Jr. with the run once again on Freeze. Freeze falls back. Can Branch cut in front? He can! Big move by the 28. Jason Branch out in front, and I think this would be the first lap he leads today. Riley Lambert, by the way, in pit road. So he is in with 21 laps to go. And now, oh, that got close for Branch. Contact with Heitman. And Junior and Senior work together for what could be the lead. By the way, in all of this, Pat Hernandez and Jordan Stenzel jumping them, taking less fuel than everyone else on the track. So coming to 19 to go, they could be the leaders. As Riley Lambert comes out, still your race leader. He's right on board as he exits the pits. He could still be the leader here off of 2. Once again, he is, but again, no help. And they're about to swallow him up. He wasn't even in 4th gear yet. So as the leaders go by, this makes you think now at the moment that Riley Lambert's going to be the only man that can go the distance. But the only issue he has now, as Heitman now enters pit road, is that he's got no draft. He's going full throttle, which could make it tough. He could try and clutch the car in the corners, but he's got to do that just inch by inch. You can't do it a lot, because then you're saving way too much fuel, and everyone else can jump you on pit road just taking a splash and go and can win this race. Now, as we look at this pack being led by Patrick Hernandez, the lead pack now with 6 drivers. Something you got to think of. Pat Hernandez is going full throttle. When you ride on board with Jordan Stenzel, listen to the throttle lift he has in the corners. You hear that? Just slight lift throttle lift. Yeah, there it is once again, and again, and again, and again. He's trying to save fuel there in that situation. He's gonna have, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my! Yikes, that almost got bad. I don't know what the heck that Tyler Glass was thinking, but that nearly turned disastrous. And because of that, this also splits up the bottom 3 from the top 3. You can play even more games here on field. Now, comparing Stenzel, listen, Hernandez is on board. Car's in full throttle, not saving fuel. When Stenzel's just flipping off and on, off and on, he is using less fuel compared to the 19. So keep that in mind. But the thing is, once again, and we say this once again for sure, here's the top 10 and how long they went. They've gone the max of, from the looks of it amongst the top 10, is about 18 to 19. No one's really been able to go 20. And there you see the driver's last pit stop. Some of them. Riley Lambert last pitted on lap 80. Everyone else either lap 76, 77, or 78. That will be a huge factor if Riley Lambert can make it to the end. And again, this time he's got some help from Matt Pelletier, so that even helps Lambert more. He's got the draft. But can he get the help from Pelletier to take it to the end? A very rare situation we could see right here, right now. Saving fuel at a super speedway. The last time I remember we had a fuel mileage race in the checkered flag in a NASCAR race on a super speedway in a long run. Remember, we're talking a long run, not a short run. Short run was different, like when Almirola won at Talladega in 2018. On a long run, the first thing that pops into my mind is when Greg Biffle won the Pepsi 400 in 2003 for his first Winston Cup win. A lot of people talk about, like maybe Rick Mast pushing Harry Gant at Talladega, and I think it was 93 or 92. More people, though, talk, of course, of Darrell Waltrip winning the Daytona 500 in 1989, where he had to save fuel. And I bet you as well, drivers are taking notes that they may have to save fuel, and they are cutting it very, very close. They would love to see a yellow. But we don't know if there will be. Twelve laps to go this time. Pat Hernandez and Jordan Stentz at 1 and 2. These are Hernandez's first laps led in the race ever since he took the lead. But I don't think Hernandez wants to be where he is, in my opinion. Full throttle in the corners. But when it comes to team orders, it's 1-2 HS. Then you got Crosby's in 3rd and 6th. For the 4X team, Freeze is 4th, Branch is 5th. So amongst the top 6 drivers, everyone's got a friend. But perhaps when we get, if these drivers do have to pit, including Riley Lambert, do we see splash and goes? Do we see a game of chicken? If you pit late and take a splash of fuel, as little fuel as possible, could you finish coming to the line with the win? $11 to go. There you see your front 3. And you see as well, by the way, Freeze and Branch starting to lift a little bit. If there's trying to save fuel, the 4X guys are trying to save fuel. Do what they can do. Let's listen. They have lost the draft in the top 3, by the way. I don't know what I think they may have done it voluntarily. Let's listen to 1 and 2 on Freeze's onboard. Does he lift just a little? Blows it back in. I don't know if Branch is doing the same thing. Oh, there you saw it. You heard it right there. There's the left. Branch knows it. Branch knows it for sure again. Last driver's pit stops. Right there on the screen. That's Casey Duncan, a 15th place car coming in. 9 to go. Tyler Glass also in. Crosby Sr., I think, knows as well he's got to save. Riley Lambert, meanwhile, still with Pelletier, now 15 seconds back. I don't know if it's going to be enough. He could still have a chance, though. I think Lambert will have a chance at winning this race coming down to the wire. But again, that is how the pit strategy looks coming to 8 laps to go. Leaders are in 3 and 4. Again, the United Racing drivers have won all 3 races to begin the year. Heitman has won 2. Lambert has won the opener at Daytona. Lambert's got a chance to get his 2nd of the year, that's for sure, but if he can't save enough fuel, it seems likely that one of these 6 cars is going to victory lane. Let's listen to Branch's onboard again if he keeps lifting, and he is. There it is right there. It's lifting and using the clutch for a split second, so it's like blip, 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 and then getting right back in it. I want to hear if Crosby Sr. is doing the same thing. I think for starters, he knows Branch is trying to save fuel. And yep, Senior's doing it now too. Senior is doing it with 7 to go. This is going to get exciting, folks. You are tuning into the perfect time if you've just joined us. 8th and 9th are in. That's Raposa and Davis. Hitting earlier than expected. They'll do splash and dashes. And they were behind Lambert, by the way, so it'll be very tough for them to get a win. You can hear on Hernandez, he can't lift. How about Stenso in the 83? You can hear him lifting in the corners. And he's lifting once again. Oh, here we go. Branch and Freeze are in. They could not go the distance. Let's watch this closely. It will be a splash and dash to the finish. So now we're starting to see the game of chicken. How far can you go in this run on fuel, take less fuel, and come out in front of your enemies? But you got to be careful as well. The drivers behind you don't have the draft. Because if they do, that could cost you. Freeze 6.5. Branch 7.1. Freeze out in front of Branch. Riley Lambert couldn't go the distance. He's in the pits, so that changes everything. Lambert not a contender to win this race. The Crosbys are now in the pits. Oh no! Crosby gets turned from his father! Oh no, that changes everything. No caution. It's in the pits. But they won't have the draft. I think Senior's going to still want to go with his brother, with his son. You heard somebody else using the clutch. I'm not too sure who it was. But now it's Hernandez and Stenzel, the only drivers amongst the leaders that have yet to pit. Freeze and Branch still on the lead lap. They are in turn 2. Leaders are just behind in the center of 1 and 2. And they're coming in. Excuse me, that was in 3 and 4. And they are in the pits. And they can take less fuel. Junior and Senior, 6.8, 7.2. Freeze and Branch, 6.5, 7.1. So this time they went even on the fuel. Let's see if Hernandez and Stenzel take less. This could determine the race. Junior and Senior have fallen back behind Freeze and Branch. Freeze is in 3. Oh, longer stops, 8.2 to 8.3. Brandon Freeze with a much better pit stop. And I think he'll merge ahead as the leader. There he is, working with Jason Branch. The Forex teammates. 1 and 2 with 4 to go. Leaders are in turn 2. This is going to get tight. And right now they've got it. Right now they are in front. And you don't see, there they are. Freeze and Branch are closing in much faster. 220 versus 190. Here they come into turn 3. Will Hernandez and Stenzel be able to get up to speed just in time? No, they're right there. They go to the outside. Freeze looking for the lead. Oh, there goes Hernandez. Hernandez gets turned. This changes everything. 6th yellow of the race. Oh my goodness. I am absolutely speechless. And what we thought was going to be a battle of tandem racing, and then what we thought was going to turn into the 4X drivers winning it, hang on just 1 second. Because we're under caution for the Pat Hernandez spin. Still on the lead lap. Now an even bigger question. Does anyone have enough fuel to go to overtime? Watch the spin from Hernandez from the lead. Oh my goodness, netcode again. That is the 2nd, if not 3rd netcode spin of the evening. Let's watch the aerial shot here. And the spin was on the track, not below the apron. And so race control had no choice but to throw the caution as they were in harm's way. Here's the onboard with Hernandez. Around from the lead. Luckily, no dope. Nope, there was some touching on the front end from Hernandez. And now we see drivers come in to fill the tanks up. Stenzel and Hernandez did not have enough. And this will get interesting as we are going to overtime. It will be a green-white checkered to determine who wins the first truck race of the year. Top 6 stay out. And ladies and gentlemen, guess who is back in this race as well? Many drivers are back in this race with this caution. The Crosbys are back in this one. Riley Lambert back in the race. Eli Raposa is also back in the race, along with Chris Davis. Derek Heidman is on the lead lap now. The strategy has worked perfectly for the 76 from the looks of it, that he'll be back on the lead lap and have a chance to win this race, perhaps. Now just checking to make sure, confirming here through iRacing, we will have 2 attempts at a green-white checkered. This is as well the first overtime of the season. And let's hear what the drivers are saying on chatter.
Okay.
I wonder if any of them are coasting using the clutch.
10-4 on that, take the top.
Freeze is using 100 less RPM compared to Branch. I could hear Lambert just using the clutch.
All right, for those of you guys that are coming out of the pit trying to get caught up, let's go ahead and do that. You're just now coming into turn 1. You still got plenty of time, but let's get on up here. Everybody else, pay attention to your heads-up displays. We got our first attempt at a GWC. If this does not happen, we're going to try it again. If that one doesn't work, well, that's going to be it for the race.
The intensity is palpable. I'm starting to get goosebumps at the moment. We haven't even taken the green flag just yet. I bet you of the 10 drivers that have a chance to win this race, the hair on their back of their necks and on their wrists and legs standing up. As we get set for the first overtime of the Hoosier Racing League. 4X is on the front row. Brandon Freeze and Jason Branch. Senior Junior Motorsports on row 2 with
Pace
Junior
car
and
is now in
Senior.
turn 3. Pace car in
Riley Lambert, the United truck, is in 5th. Eli Repose on the outside in row 3. And then the drivers that will be good to go to the end. Chris Davis, Pat Hernandez, row 4. Jordan Stenzel is in 9th. Derek Heitman has to restart from the rear in 10th, but is still in it to win it. Overtime number 1. If we don't get to the white flag and a yellow comes out, we'll try it one more time. Back to green, 2 to go. And a great restart from Brandon Freeze in front of the 28. Crosby Jr. gets into 3rd spot. Senior has to duck down into 4th. Lambert's in 5th. All staying single file. The straightaways are the best places to make the moves. Does anyone go for it? I think Branch is going to stay right tucked behind Freeze and make the move in the last corner off of turn 4 on the last lap. First guy on the outside is Hernandez in 6th. 225 miles an hour the top speed. No restrictor plates. Who makes the first move amongst the front 5? Off of turn 4. Riley Lambert wants to go for it. White flag is out. We're on the last lap. Lambert tucks it back down low. He's in 5th. He's looking for a slingshot. Brandon Freeze, Jason Branch. It's a 1-2 4X race. The Crosby family is in 3rd and 4th. Lambert's trying to get help. He's in 5th from Chris Davis. You got drivers below the yellow line. That's Hernandez who's out of it. Double file, turn 3. Here comes Crosby Jr. to the outside. Like father, like son. Can they get the push off for 3 and 4? It's coming down to Freeze and Crosby Jr. Coming to the checkered flag. Who's it gonna be? Down to a photo finish at the stripe. It's Crosby Jr. Jeff Crosby Jr. takes the win. Last lap pass. He can thank his father for that. Another clean finish coming to the checkered flag. And Jeff Crosby Jr. takes the win. What a finish to the end. And continues the podium streak and finally gets his first win of the year. And here is how he did it at the white flag. So they're nose to tail amongst the top 4. And so Junior made the pass down the back straightaway. He lifted on Branch as Branch was just bump drafting, and that's what happened. They got shaken up. Junior gets a run along with Senior, and Senior goes with. This was the part that concerned me, though, because the drivers on the low line were oh so close. They get the run, and off of turn 4, how does it come down to the wire? Off the corner, they got stacked up. Stacked up from behind. There's the push. Booyah. And it was a photo finish for second to the checkered flag. Crosby Jr. with the win unofficially. 0.05 of a second. And oh my, this is going to get good. Light him up, Crosby's. You deserve it. And the only one showing the smoke is Junior. Come on, Senior, you got some in ya. Ah, there he goes. They can't get him bumper to bumper because of the banking on the straights. So you'll see the gap in the thousandths marker here. 54 thousandths of a second. And so we're getting set to go here and to talk with your top three. We'll start things off with our third place finisher, Brandon Freeze. Brandon, that's got to be a tough pill to swallow. Just take us through the final lap from your perspective while leading.
Yeah, first of all, I got to thank Jason Branch. He gave me a great push there through the green-white checker. And I thought we were going to put the Solar Clean Energy truck F-150 in victory lane tonight, but I got a little loose there on the back, about midway down the back stretch when I got a push, and I think that got the 33 and the 15 bias. So great run tonight for everyone on our Solar Clean Energy East West Urban Management Serve Pro team. Got to thank all my guys at 4X, and like I said, especially Jason for the pushes tonight.
Well, hey, you got nothing to be ashamed of. That was a great run to the finish and keeping it clean. Nice job tonight, man.
Yeah, thanks. This is our second race. 4X races. 4X Racing's second race in this league, and Hoosiers done a great job, put on some great events, and we're happy to be here.
Absolutely. Appreciate the time.
Thanks for everything you guys do. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. You as well. Brendan Freeze, our third place finish. We are going to bring in the top two together because they completely deserve it. Jeff Crosby, Sr. and Jr. in victory lane. There you see them. Gentlemen, congratulations. Junior, I'm going to start with you. Walk us through the pass on the final lap and getting back in victory lane finally.
It worked out perfectly. Dad and I had a plan. We're definitely going to make a move there coming out of 4, but luckily they just got squirrely. I don't know what happened, and I just yelled out, "Let's go now!" And Dad stuck to the bumper, and we came out P1, P2. It worked out perfectly.
Senior, what was, from your perspective, was the strategy as well to potentially as well side draft them on the final lap too, in case they were in case Junior and Freeze were side by side?
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't want to cause any crashes, so I was real cautious going through the corner there, and just wanted to make sure I was on Junior's rear end there to push him on through. It was a lot of fun. This is my best finish on any racing so far as a league.
Junior, I want to ask you as well, because you spun out coming into pit road for the final round of pit stops. What was your reaction when that final yellow came out?
I was grateful, and I thought the race was over when that happened.
He choked, Marty.
I choked, yes, I did choke. I don't know what happened. Just didn't take tires for the longest time, and I just spun out, and thankfully that caution came out. We were able to be P3, P4, and on that restart, and it just worked out. It was perfect.
Senior, this also has to feel good for you. You've had a rough start to the season. Your best finish was 9th at Daytona, and now to get a podium finish. How does this feel and relieve all the pressure?
Feels real good. I feel better running the super speedways, and this track, I really love this track. First time I've ran this track, so I really enjoyed it. The short tracks, yeah, it's give and take on those. I'm still pretty much a rookie. I just started 6 months ago in this whole iRacing deal. Junior drugged me into it. I was watching him on broadcast, and I really enjoyed watching him and wanted to get involved, so I feel real good about finishing second tonight.
Next week, gentlemen, whoever wants to take this first, we're back to the next gen. This time we go to Charlotte. What are we expecting?
That should be real. Go ahead, Dad.
I enjoy Charlotte. I'm expecting myself to do very well there too. I'm hoping anyway. I do really well when I'm racing Charlotte, so keep my fingers crossed. Hopefully I'll stay out of trouble.
Junior?
Yeah, Charlotte's a fun track. Next gen cars are always going to be tricky, obviously. Just got to stay out of trouble there, and it's a fast track. It's faster than what people expect. So stay out of trouble, run up front, and hopefully we can do this again.
On behalf of the team, who do you guys want to give shout-outs to?
Go ahead, Junior.
Anyone that's watching, I know I got some friends that are probably watching still. Definitely want to give a shout out to Dad for giving me that last push on the end there, and
payback. You got to pay back.
Yeah, got a big payback for sure, and hopefully that happens within the next few weeks, maybe next week. That'd be awesome.
Thank you too, Marty. Enjoy watching your broadcast after we race.
Yeah, thank you, Marky.
Absolutely. Enjoy this one, guys. Congratulations on the 1-2 finish.
Hey, I got one more too. Hoosier, man, they put on a good program here. So if anybody's watching, wanting to join a league, this is the league to join. They're not rude people at all. Nobody in this league is rude at all. Everybody's very polite. It's a very good league to be in.
It was fun to
Yeah,
watch,
for sure.
guys. That's for sure. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Jeff Crosby Sr. and Jeff Crosby Jr. Jeff Crosby Jr., Jeff Crosby Sr. 1, 2, respectively. What a finish for them. That's got to feel good for them. They will definitely be partying it up tonight at the virtual iRacing Superspeedway. Here are how the results looked. First off, for the top 18, 53 thousandths of a second, the margin for Junior and Senior. And then Senior beating Freeze by 8 thousandths of a second. 10 guys finishing on the lead lap after all of that. Anthony Monroe was a front runner in this race and unfortunately had the tough break when he tried a different strategy, was expecting another yellow. Instead, we had that incredible long run, just backfired, finished the lap down, and then out of the race he went. And then there you see the rest of the drivers that finished. Wild ride for Mark Jackson as well tonight, that's for sure. So that will do it for us again next week. Not Dover. We're there today for NASCAR. Next week for us, Charlotte Motor Speedway with the Next Gen. Second time with the Next Gen. And it'll start at 8 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/Marty Sakala. And Jeff Crosby Jr., the new, still the points leader after that. A points paying win for him. That'll do it for us on behalf of everyone at the Hoosier Racing League. Matt Pelletier, Riley Lambert, and company. Marty Sakala signing things off. Congratulations to the Crosbys, Junior and Senior, 1-2 at iRacing Superspeedway. So long, everyone.